Okay. Okay. We want to welcome back everyone from our medical missionary training. Today we are going to be dealing with one of the practical parts. Last Sunday we did with um, the raw preparation for the food, raw food preparation. And we should not be saying raw cooking because it's not cooked, it's prepared. Today we're going to be dealing with the different ways of making the herbs, of applying the herb, of consuming the herb internally as externally. All right. And we're going to have most of the thing to be shown by our brother. He's a nurse, uh, also a master herbalist, because he took this class in 2017 from me. And then by God grace, he progressed, and then we helped him to subscribe to the Master Herbalist program. Now he is a certified Master Herbalist. And I encourage every nurse to think that way, because with Master Herbalist certificate, you have 9 states in America where you can open a clinic. So I encourage every nurse practitioners to start thinking about something like that. Especially for this last day, we need people like that. Okay, nurse, this is a very, very good field to combine the two medicine, okay? The conventional medicine and a divine, natural way of taking care of people. So today we're going to be going into it straight. So our brother Will is going to give a very short presentation. As long he go, we're going to be showing things right away because we want to get more time so that we can be able to answer the questions, because questions help people to have a better understanding. Okay, so it's not going to be the very traditional way of presentation. We show one thing, we explain it, and then we do the practical part right away. Okay, so Brother Willis, but before we give him the word, let us pray. Divine Father, we thank you for this time. We ask for your wisdom to be our share. We pray especially for the inspiration for the students, that they can take this introduction and go ahead, even be willing to be open to your much more revelation. Father God, it is time for us to stop waiting until we get sick. We can prevent any disease by correcting our understanding and approach of health and having a right definition of what is true food. The food you have made for us are the herb. It should be our medicine at the same time. Guide us, bless us, that we can also be ready to impart knowledge to other people. Bless everyone in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Okay. Thank you, Pastor Coco, for the introduction. Thank you, class, for allowing me to be able to share with you. So we're talking about herbs again. And a lot of people, when they think herbs, they just think about drinking. But there are many other ways that you can use these herbs. So we'll take a look at it. So we have a few objectives, which is so that the student will understand why we use these herbs. The student should get a working knowledge of the different ways these herbs are used. And the student should be able to understand the various ways to prepare them. And, you know, I like the credo that Hippocrates said, let food be your medicine and medicine be your food. So let's go into it. So why do we use herbs? That's the big question, because herbs, the way we look at it generally in this time, it's like these are little pesky things that just happen to annoy us everywhere we go. So what do? We spray them, we get Roundup, and we spray them. We dig it up, we put concrete over it. We do everything else, but they keep coming back. Why? Isn't it that God is trying to tell us something? Because when we take a look at Genesis, when we look at creation itself, one of the things that God put before he put man, he put a garden which had herbs. And he commanded us, as in Genesis 1:29, he said, I have given you every herb-bearing seed. Why? Because he knew that in time it is going to be not only time after sin, but even before sin, they were using herbs. Adam and Eve were using herbs because they were the best thing for them. So hence the reason, this is why we need to use herbs. Now, in this modern time, herbs are subdivided now. We have herbs that are called medicinal herbs, which you have like dandelion, red clover, etc., etc., etc. Then we have the herbs that are called culinary herbs. Your parsley, your sage, your rosemaries, your onions, your garlics. But let's close that chasm. All herbs are medicinal and all herbs could be culinary. Because if Adam and Eve were eating these herbs, they were culinary. So there should be no distinction about, well, this is an herb that is medicinal and this is an herb that is culinary. It's just some of them have a better taste when we put them with food. Now, one of the ways that we prepare them is by using teas. And why do we use teas? Teas are used because they're the best way that we can get the benefits of the herb in our body. So let's take a little jog back into the history of tea. I'm sure that before this time, people were using teas, but we're talking about documentation. So it dates back to ancient China about 5,000 years ago. And in legend, 2732 BCE, Emperor Shen Nung discovered tea, as they said. What he was doing was he had hot water and he was sitting down and he walked away, but leaves fell off a tree and went into the hot water. So when he came back, it infused itself. So when he drank it, it was an aha moment. So, we could say the Chinese, we could say Japanese, because I've heard things, but we always, when we talk about trade, growing up, I always heard that, one of the things that the Orient always were good at trading with teas. So for me, China, Japan, India, teas, same, the same difference, let's put it that way. Now, the parts of the plant that normally is used is all of it, basically. It depends on which one you're going to use. So you can use the leaves, the flowers, the barks, the roots. All of it is good. So let's take one as a simple tea. One of the methods, infusion. Now, the word infusion comes from just that, infuse. I heard earlier a couple times that Pastor Coco mentioned about tea making. And he says that we should be drinking tea, which I agree, because we don't drink enough of it. As we see, you get the benefits of the herb, the medicinal properties. So tea drinking should be part of our life. But what I understood is there's a problem, an issue with how people understand to make tea. And so one of the things we're going to discuss is how to make an infusion. So let's discuss how you make an infusion. An infusion is made, who's going to bubble? An infusion is made with leaves and flowers. Why? Because they are very delicate. So it's very easy, just as the explanation on the history of teas, where the leaves fell off the tree, probably the flowers too, because when the other one is that the Japanese emperor, flowers fell into his water. And it infused, and the aroma and the taste caused, again, an aha moment. So here we had tea. So the teas and the leaves, even pick a flower and you pass it against your skin, see how delicate it is. Even a leaf, touch it, how delicate. So you know right away it's something that you don't want to basically rough up when you're making tea. But some of us, we make teas by taking the herb, put it in the pot, or put it in a cup and either boil it, or we boil the water first and then throw it onto the leaves or the flowers. Two things happen there. You shock actually the leaves and the bark, because now it closes tight and it doesn't get a chance to coax out the constituents of the tea. Secondly, because you do that, now it sits there and it can become very bitter. Particularly if you're boiling it, it becomes very bitter, so you don't get a fragrance from the tea. One of the ways to infuse, and I like, is a sun tea. This was done today. I took distilled water and I put 1 tablespoon of, this is hibiscus, sorrel, and some orange peel. I mixed all 3 together. I got a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half, because this is 12 ounces. I put it in the water. I put the distilled water in it, and I left it out in the sun for 3 hours. What do you think happened here? Well, what happened in creating this is, first, our main source of energy is the sun. You have every possible everything that's vital is in the sun. So this responded very well, because it wakes up, just like it wakes us up. The sun keeps us alive. It keeps us moving. It provides energy. So this pulled energy from the sun. And one of the things is that the heat was controlled. When we take boiling water is 212 degrees Celsius. That's very hot. So to an extent, we're still shocking our herb. But with this sun tea, we're able to sit it for 3 hours. I put this in like 10, I took it out like 4. So to make this, you just sit it out, as I said, put in your distilled water, put in your herb, cover it, put it in the sun. In 3 to 6 hours, you have tea. Now, the most common way for an infusion is by taking the herb, so I have the hibiscus again, hibiscus flowers. Oops. I have sorrel. I have some lemon peel that I dried. Again, organic lemon peel, because we know that there are not a lot of spraying went on this plant. And I have, and I just want to be a little bit creative. So I have mint. Now, all I want is really that they all melt together. You get the aroma of all of them. You know, orange will light up your room. Mint will give you that nice minty aftertaste. So you pick this up. Now this has a strainer on the inside. So you pour in your herb. You pour in your water.
It's a very hot tea. Okay?
So you,
It's a
so
very
you let
hot
it
water,
sit.
sorry.
So you let it sit for a little bit.
And this depends. If it's flowers, just need to be hot enough. Doesn't need to be really boiling. So
Right. So you just let it sit a
very
little bit.
delicate. It depends on what you use. If it's a herb, just strong herbs, it's gonna be hot tea. If it's simple, delicate flowers,
Flowers
just
and
hot water, not necessarily boiling water, because you want to preserve, the healing property of the flowers. Okay.
so now you put this in and you let it sit.
So in the morning, you can do something
So-
like this. Then you go get a shower. Getting ready.
But look at what's happening already.
That is infusing.
It's starting to bleed right into your water.
You see, the property of the herb are infusing, or it's just getting out from the herb into the liquid. Okay, so the properties infuse in the water, and then they will be able to drink that. So you do this in the morning. You can sit there for next 15 minutes, and you go get a
steep,
shower.
right.
Until you come back, you have your herbal tea ready. So it doesn't take too much time. Actually, not.
Okay. So the next way of making tea is through what we call a decoction. And decoction is a way of tea making, but it's for tougher parts of the plant. Like, again, we were talking about when you can take a flower and rub it against your face. Could you take a bark and do that? So it needs a little more coaxing. It needs a little more help. Could you take a root and do that? So to get the properties, it's a little tougher. So we call it a decoction because we have to bring it to a high level of boiling in order to pull out the properties of the plant. So in order to do the decoction, unfortunately, I don't have the time to do it, so we'll just discuss what it is.
I would like to explain something there.
Okay, so you take a tablespoon of the root of the bark. You put it in a pot, and you add your water. You bring it to boil, and then you reduce it to a simmer for 20 minutes. That way, it will pull out now all of the properties. Some people leave it a little longer, or there's some roots and barks that one go is not good enough when we're treating certain diseases. So what you do is that you will do that one, you strain it out, you drink, and then you start the process over again with the same bark, because there's a little bit more that comes out of it the more you boil it. Now, we're talking about using distilled water. Why are we not using purified water and bottled water? Because, when I read creation again, there was only water. It didn't say it come from Perry and in the Swiss Alps and wherever. Distilled water. We use distilled water because of its ability. Firstly, it's a pure water. There's no chemicals added to it, and there is an affinity to an ability for it to pull all we call it the hungry water, because it pulls everything from whatever it is you put it, even if you're cooking, whatever it is you're preparing, anytime you use distilled water, it has an ability to pull all the nutrients, all the constituents, and be able to use it in its pure form. Pastor, you wanted to say something?
Okay. There are some of the students, a lot of them that we put on what we call a whole body reset. So in the herb, I send them, you do the infusion, okay? You pour hot water, on the herb, it depends. If you don't have these things, you have a simpler pot home. So you have the herb in a cup, and then you pour hot water on it. But it's not the best way. The real best way is to have the hot water, then you infuse the herb. Now, when you do that, you leave it for 15 minutes. After that, you strain it. Let's suppose that this is after 15 minutes. You take this out, okay? You take it out. Then, what do we have here? Now open.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have the residue of the herb here. This residue is not empty of nutrients yet. We take the same thing, we put in a pot, we add about 16 ounces of water. Now you're going to boil it for 15 minutes to 20 minutes, depends. If it is just a simple, hard leaves and simple light bark or broken root, it's okay. But if it's really, really hard, you gotta let it boil much more. So when you boil this for decoction, you are taking more nutrient from the herb. So in doing the infusion, you are taking first the nutrients that cannot resist too much heat. Okay? Then you take the residue from this, and then you do decoction. So nutrients that need more heat to be extracted will be removed from the root and the bark into the herbal tea. So it's very important that we follow that. Now, when you have two teas from the same herb. You have the infusion from the herb,
Decoction.
and you have decoction from the herb. What do? You mix them. Then you have the whole thing. Why do we do that? Because we don't want to boil the whole thing to the point where you destroy whatever cannot resist the heat, and you only get what could resist the heat. That's why we do it that way. Okay? You don't have to do it that way. Why is like that? Because the herb I send to people, I mix a lot of stuff. Mix herbs, bark, and some chopped roots. But we really want to get much benefit. That's why we do like that. Okay? That's for those who are on the program where we have for them.
Okay, so continuing, we're going to go to fermentation. And it is said a fermentation is from the Latin word fermentum, which means soothing application or poultice, and is a warm, moist application that delivers heat to a body part for healing. It can be used from because your herbs have multiple uses. So some of them, they're very good in also alleviating pain. And you might have a strain and you say you have willow bark. Let's, for instance, willow. You use the bark and you make a decoction. You could make a tea, which is a decoction is a tea. You use that, you soak it into the warm water, you wring it out, and you apply it onto wherever it's hurting you. You wrap it, and you keep that going back and forth. So, in other words, it's like a hot pack. It's like a compress. So we use our herbs also as fermentations. Now, some of the fermentations that we use is like one that I like to use, and it's very simple, is a castor oil fermentation. And what the purpose is to cleanse the liver. We have a problem where we pay everything, we do cleanse to everything, but we don't cleanse our liver. Our liver is responsible to taking in all the junk that we put into it. And as somebody mentioned, your liver will take a bullet to save you. That's how important your liver is. So when you hear we have all these problems with skin issues and whatever, a lot of times the liver is just overloaded with so much that it can't do anything else. It's just holding on to it, but it knows if it goes anywhere else, you're going to get worse. So one of the things we use is a castor oil fermentation. And this can be done daily, particularly at night. When I say daily, at night. So what you need is castor oil. I use a hot water bottle, but you can use a thin cotton towel, and you need some hot water, and you need ice water. So what do you do first? Because I have this, I will fill this up with hot water. Don't have to be boiling. You put a bit of a thin film of castor oil at this, in around the liver area, and you apply it. What you do, you take a thin cloth and rest it there to create a barrier, and you apply it. You keep this on for 12 minutes. When you're done, you take it and put it aside, and you take a cold rag and you apply it on for 4 minutes. So, 3 minutes, right? You do this 4 times within an hour, because 12 plus 3 is 15, 15 minutes. You keep the cycle going, and you will be surprised to see in the morning when you make your trip to the bathroom to relieve yourself, you will be seeing castor oil in your toilet bowl. Now, if you don't have this, it will apply the same way. You apply the oil, you take a hot rag, as hot as you can take it, place it on the side. You remove it. Now, in order to not burn yourself, you're going to put another rag right there to prevent the barrier, so that it doesn't get directly on your skin and burn you. And you do the same thing. Hot, 12 minutes. Cold, 3 minutes. You repeat the cycle for 4 times, which is in an hour, and there you go, your castor oil fermentation.
For the castor oil fermentation, it's very important that we mention for our sisters that have a fibroid problem. Even though you will have herbs and other stuff to start, breaking down your fibroid, changing your diet, reducing extra estrogen, anything that's promoting this bad fat, omega-6 rich oil you are taking care of all of this stuff. Then you're going to be doing castor oil right there on your, the lower here, okay? And it has to be more castor oil, really soaked, and you do it very well. And there are many videos on YouTube you can watch on that, because we can't really show how you do it here, but it's the same process, okay? Castor oil pack on your lower here, on your uterus here, and then you are taking the internal herbs, you're changing the diet, doing everything well. You will see how you're breaking your fibroid slowly until it will disappear. It might take a long process, depending how big it is and how bad has been your lifestyle. So fermentation is very important in many cases. You have some pain on the knees, many ways. So you gotta really understand how it works. If I have pain in the back, it depends what it is. You gotta need fermentation. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Another thing where we can use it is making a poultice. And a poultice is made with dried or fresh herbs, and it's made into a paste and directly applied onto the skin. It is used to draw out impurities and toxins. And if you're using dried herbs, you mix it with, because you want a moist, pasty texture. It's always good to add something like slippery elm, which will hold on to this, the body part.
So we gotta show that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say you are in the farm. Let's say you are in the countryside and you are working the farm, and you get maybe any insect or something really, bites you. This plantain leaves. For those who can see, we already did herbal identification of plantain. So you take the plantain. You are in a bush, so you have no machine around. So you're gonna take it and just grind it as much as you can, grind it in your hand as long as you can until it can become very juicy possible, really juicy. okay? And then you squeeze it until you get some juice. For those who can see, you can see right here. Okay, give me some paper, they can see what I'm talking about. Yeah, yeah, that's fine. This is the juice from the plantain leaves. You see that? That's going right there on the paper. So when you have this, now you leave it on the place, okay? The herb with the juice, all of that, you can bind it up. That is a poultice. Where you are in some way you don't have no machine. If you are home, that is very different. You have a blender, you have many things to do it much better. You have a special plastic and papers designed to do that. We're going to show you much plastic. We're going to much of the poultice you can make. We are going to show you how to do the poultice for the back. Those who have a lower back, serious trouble. We're going to show you how to do super draw. We're going to show you many things, and we come back to that, okay? So the poultices are very, very important. Very important. Yeah, start that first.
Okay. So, for Bible students, we have one particular instance where poultice is mentioned. And it was a fig poultice. And this account was taken from 2 Kings 20 in the account of King Hezekiah and Isaiah. He was covered in boils. And what did the servant of the Lord tell him to use? He said, put figs on the boil. And it is said that when he did it, he was able to find relief. So let's show you how we do this. It might be. So I have some figs here. Well, I have dried figs, but fresh ones will always be better. So if you have dried figs, you have to dehydrate it a little bit. Take it and put a little warm water on it, let it sit. And then all you do is pulverize it into a paste. If it's a little bit too thin,
Pull it down.
excuse me.
A little more.
Now, this is the consistency you're going to have. Oops, sorry, it's a little runny. But you add some slippery elm to it to thicken it, if you wish.
Okay, so this you want to add?
Because you really want it to be nice and thick.
Okay, this is very watery, right? Now we want it to be thick. What do? You're going to add slippery elm to it. You have slippery elm.
Let me put the spoon. The spoon right there.
So you pour a little bit of this here. Then now you add slippery elm to it. You can add it even before you blend it if you want to. Add a little more. Slippery elm. It's slippery, okay?
Now, why do we add poultices? Poultices are used to draw out impurities. It's very good to draw out toxins from the body. So when we have things that boils or whatever it is that show up, and we have these things, we have a tendency that we like to go squeeze. I know some mothers, oh, they love to go squeeze pimples. They see it on their kids and they go crazy popping them. We see a little thing and we go and we take a needle, put it in the fire to sterilize it, and then we stick it and squeeze it. But we run the risk of introducing more bacteria into these open places. But with slippery elm, this will, you put it on, look at the thickness of this.
Now it's very thick. So now you can really spray this up and then cover the
Cover it.
area. You see, it's very pasty,
With
and
saran wrap
very,
or
very
something like that.
consistent. So if you have any area in the body that have a problem, it can be the back, whatever it is. For most of the time, it depends the kind of herb you are using. Some of the herbs are very pulling, so you don't use plastic. You use a very healthy cotton
Breathable
or
cotton.
paper towel, and then behind you can have some plastic to hold it, okay? But be very aware, it depends on the kind of herb you are using. And in some of the cases, when you don't want to pull, but you want to take the herbs, the property of the herb, into the area. Follow me carefully, please. You want to take the property of the herb into, let's say you have a back problem, okay? And you make some great, really good things for the bone or for whatever it is there. You can first put a little of oil, like hemp oil first, put much more of DMSO, which is a solvent, and then you put this poultice. And you can add more of DMSO to it. It's going to take the properties of the herbs into the area, okay? God willing, the next level 2, what you're going to do, poultice for breast cancer, for example. You mix a lot of this herb, a lot of poke root, blood root, everything. We're going to be looking at that with in a level 2. You're going to be, first of all, rubbing with whatever need, the oil that need, the MSO, and add these things to it, and pour the poultice and fuse it up very well with enough of the MSO. This should be calculated, so don't do whatever you want because it's very delicate. Doing so, you're not drawing things, you are taking the herb into. Okay? Somebody have a severe knee problem. There are herbs that we use to regenerate bones, comfrey, marshmallow, white oak bark. When you mix this herb for the bones, you want to do the poultice and you want to take the nutrient of the herb deep down, then you add a DMSO. All right? So these are much more delicate as a real herbal application that we're going to be showing in level 2, how to do a real healing with the herbs. Okay? But you can do this. Even for the back problem, people have a serious injury in the back, the bone in the back, all of that. This great poultice will help you. At the same time you're doing the poultice, you change your diet, of course. You're eating well, taking herbal teas, all of the sprouts, the juicing, the smoothies, and everything, and the right way of thinking and praying, because only God heals. Okay?
Amen. So we also have another demonstration by Kwasakoko about the black super draw.
The black super draw is the same way. It's the same way, only the consistency is very different. That is designed to draw a serious problem when you have a real back pain that for years nothing can cure it. That's what we use. Black super draw, you have charcoal, we have bentonite clay, we have a blood root, we have a willow, we have cayenne pepper, we have golden seal, we have a poke root, we have a red clover, we have slippery elm, and garlic. You mix all of these things and you make a super draw. Now you want to draw, okay? It's much more for the severe back injury, back pain. For the same that you are drawing, okay, called super draw. You are drawing. We also do it in other way where you can do it, you can drink it internally to draw toxin from your system. You get poison or you have been in chemo, they will add most of a humic and many other stuff to change the formula around. So please, poultice is two things you gotta listen to carefully: drawing things
And to push
or
it back in.
putting things into. So when I want to put things into, you're gonna need a key ingredient, the solvent called DMSO. If you don't have DMSO, use anything that can dilate, the capillaries, okay, the extremity of the capillary on the skin, so that you can let the things into it. So we use the hot cayenne pepper. You have a different kind of cayenne pepper. Use a very hot one, okay, and then use a little of light. We use a
Infrared.
in an infrared light we used here before. You project the infrared light, it heat up the place, the blood capillary dilated, you have much blood flow, all of that. You can take more of the herb into the place. Okay? We are going to be showing this in much more in practical form in level 2. All right? Now we're just showing the basic thing you can do for yourself as taking care of yourself. Okay?
Okay. Also, we are coming upon a time right now, almost flu season, allergy season. Lots of us have issues like kids with problems who are always getting chest congestions. And a very good poultice for that is the onion poultice.
Okay.
So you're going to use the same concept as we did with the with the fig, in that you get a yellow onion this time, because the yellow onion is a better drawing agent than the red onion. And all you do is that you blend the onion again until it's a pulp, and you add some, and then you add in the slippery elm to make it thick, and you apply it. Now, the application is the same way as when you're putting on a fermentation. So you add a thin, because it tends to burn, so you add a thin film of olive oil on the chest area, particularly when you're dealing with the little ones. Their skin is so delicate. They can't stand the things that we can put our bodies through. So you make sure that you put on a thin film of olive oil over the chest area, and then you spread the poultice, the onion paste, over the chest, and then you cover it. Again, you want to cover it. You take either a cotton cloth or a napkin, and then you cover it again, so that the body will open up and pull in all of the nutrients from this, and you would see that eventually that they would start bringing up sputum, etc., and it's going to relieve the chest congestion. If you're leaving it overnight, it's good to wear like a tight-fitted shirt so that it can stay. One thing, again, with the kids, the little ones, because we tend to look at them as, they're like us. No, when you're doing it, if you're going to leave it, you have to always be cautious to check the skin. Go back and lift that thing up and check, part a little bit and just check to see if there are any blisters, because the child might still be crying and don't know to tell you anything. So we got to keep just checking them, because, again, it's a pulling mechanism and it comes through the skin. At the same time, it's driving stuff into the skin. So the tenderness is something that we have to be careful with.
All right. For the poultice, for onion poultice, very important. Okay. For the knees, some people have a serious knee injury. As long as you're doing the poultice, you got to be taking also something I used to make before. You used to be really strong. You use red onion juice. You juice garlic. You juice ginger. And you add some of golden seal. You mix everything. And you add fulvic mineral to that. You have a very strong antibiotic, because sometimes you see some bad virus there doing some problems. So we got to kill them before you regenerate anything. So you're doing the onion pulses on the knees. At the same time, you are drinking these things. And then at the same time, you're taking your herbal teas. The teas, the herbs that are good for the bone. Comfrey, uh, white oak bark, marshmallow, stinging nettle roots, horsetail, whatever rich in silica and all of these things, and a lot of green juice. Anytime you deal with bones, green, green, and green. All right? Sprout seeds, sesame sprout. These sprouts really help to build. So we really want us to be in every case. Don't just try to do one thing. Do everything. Everything. Doing some poultice for the child. If it's possible, make some syrup for the child. Okay, use elderberry syrup and a little bit of something for the same cough. It will really help. Okay, you can use primrose oil if it's a asthma problem. So you're gonna be doing everything. The food must change a little bit. The water you are using for bathing the child must be much better. So if it's possible, the atmosphere, you can use the diffuser with the oil where you put the, what you call it, eucalyptus oil. So you don't just do the poultice and then you are fine. Okay, poultice, better diet, everything, the diffuser, everything you needed, the syrup, everything, and a herbal tea that they can handle also.
So in other words,
we
you're
really
treating holistically,
holistically. Don't just
not
say,
one part.
okay, I have been doing a poultice for 8 weeks. You're missing out. I have been doing poultice. I have changed my diet. I'm doing more juice every day. My diet is full of sprouts, a lot of enzyme. I'm taking my herbal teas. I'm doing this, doing everything, and then meditating on the love of God. Okay? How divine power heals. So we also want to say that this is only for educational purpose. Okay? This is the disclaimer. So these studies, this thing we are doing is purely for education. It does not replace or it's not a medical advice or any diagnosis. You have any problem, you gotta look for your medical doctor. This is for only educational purposes. All right? Thank you very much.
Before we continue on, Pastor, so as you're talking about this, everything, we can look at this as a boxer.
Yeah.
You know, when you see boxers box, what do you see? Do they just go hit one and just one and just one? No. What do? They start working the ribs. They start working,
everywhere.
Everywhere. So when he's talking about you don't use one method of treatment. You use it holistically. It's as if you in the boxing ring. Because why? Eventually, when you come left and right, uppercut, what eventually happens? You beat everything into submission. That's how you see boxing matches are done. Am I correct?
Definitely, definitely. Because many are not have a good result with natural remedies because they want to do herbal tea. They do herbal tea every day, and that's it. Or they do herbal tea and some diet. You need everything. Herbal teas, diet, juicing, prayers, if you need fermentation, exercise, sunlight, sleeping well, because during the sleep that the body heals, your growth hormone, everything to repair. So you need a whole package in every case. Okay?
Yeah.
So for the black super draw, this is how we're going to be making this in level 2. You're going to really learn how to make them and package as you can. But for today, we don't have time to go through that. Poultice, I think we are done with that, right?
Yes. So we're going to deal with extracts. And now it sounds like a big fancy word to a lot of people because we tend to like to make people feel that, people who don't know because, we are in a certain area that, we kind of make them feel like, you don't know because I know this word. But an extract is any time you add a liquid to an herb, it becomes an extract. Now, it can be done in 3 ways, particularly. You use it either with alcohol, you can use it with vegetable glycerin, or apple cider vinegar. Now, when we do it, the things that you got to get acquainted with are 2 words, mark and menstruum. And the herb that you're going to use or combination of herbs, you might be working with someone and they say, okay, give me the mark. Automatically it's the herb or herbal combination. And the menstruum is the solvent, the liquid that you're going to use. So it's either your alcohol, your vegetable glycerin, or your apple cider vinegar. Now, when we talk about tinctures, tinctures are any time you're using alcohol to draw the properties of your herb, it's called a tincture. So one of the things that you got to be to concern yourself about is that alcohol we talk about is vodka. Why? Vodka is the only clear and pure alcohol. They add coloring to a lot of other alcohols and other chemicals for stability and stuff like that. But vodka is always pure. But the vodka that we try to always get is 40% alcohol and above. So when we talk about, we say proof, and a lot of people here, particularly Jamaicans, they always talk about their overproof rum and whatever. But you're looking for something that if you get it at 100 proof, great, because it's 50% alcohol. A lot of vodkas now are just around 80 proof. So, it's 40% alcohol, 40% water. Okay? So,
So in another word, if you hear 100% proof, what does that mean?
50% alcohol,
50% alcohol,
50% water.
So if you have 90 proof,
45,
45% alcohol, and then
45, yeah.
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 So
55, sorry.
55, sorry.
Okay, so
Tinctures, that's it for the tinctures?
doing tinctures. So what we're going to do, you can use tinctures now using dried herbs or fresh herbs.
Yeah.
Most of us, we like to use, my personal preference is dried herbs, because some of the herbs that I use for tinctures, they're not in this part of the country. So I have to get them dried. And so I've become a little bit more acquainted with them. But the only difference is how much alcohol you're going to put in, how much herb you're going to put in your bottle. So when you're using dried herbs, you put at least half or 3/4 of the herb in the bottle. If it's fresh herbs, you fill it all the way to the top, and then you pour in the alcohol. Now, when you pour it in, you shake it. Okay, so let me demonstrate. I have, because I'm due to make some for somebody, so can you pass me a bottle?
This one?
Yes. Okay. So you need a jar. So I have here some hawthorn berry, some hawthorn leaves, and flowers. And I like the berries also. Now, go ahead. Continue on.
No?
Mm-hmm. It's half to 3/4. Okay, so this is about half. And now I'm going to add some berries to it. So it's just about 3/4.
Mm-hmm.
Now I have some alcohol, vodka.
So this is the vodka, okay?
And this is 80%. So what we're talking about, it's 40% alcohol and 60% water. So you pour in your vodka. all the way to the top.
And then you're gonna cover this. Now you're gonna be very careful of what you're using for the covering.
Exactly.
Because the alcohol can break down some of the things you don't want to. So we don't recommend using any metal covering because it's not very recommended. If you have a much better plastic or other covering, just cover that and you tighten it up. It stay like this for 30 days. 30 days.
2 to 6 weeks.
6 weeks, it depends on how strong you want to be. It depends how broken down are the stuff. Okay, if it's fine enough, sometimes you do like cayenne pepper, use the powder to make a tincture. You're gonna quickly draw this thing. You don't need to stay there for 6 weeks. If you have a very strong, like hard chunk of bark or roots, you're gonna leave it there for very good 6 weeks. Now, for the tincture, there is something we need to mention.
So, as you see, it's here. There's a little space between it. That's fine because eventually what's going to happen, these are going to be saturated with the alcohol and they're going to compress down. Now, because I don't have a plastic over this, I'm not going to do what we're supposed to do. So when you have the tincture done, what you do, I'll use this by a demonstration because it has plastic over it, is that you take it and you shake it 3 times, 3 to 4 times, and you put it down. Now, every day you do this for the next 2 to 6 weeks. Now, most herbalists use the concept of the new moon and the full moon. And that's why we say, most of them will say 2 weeks, because it's 2 weeks between when the new moon comes up, and it has a pulling effect on the herbs, on bringing out the properties of the herb, and the full moon has a pushing effect in that it keeps the viability of the herbs together. So that's why they would always say 2 weeks, and most of them would start at the new moon first and then the full moon. Now, you keep this in a cool place, and every day, all you're going to do when you wake up is invert it 3 times. Why are you doing it? Because you want. So.
Exactly. You do that every day.
Every day. But look, you see, it starts to, you don't see a space anymore.
It's pulling.
So it's pulling it in. And this is how you build your tincture.
And after that, you're going to strain it. Then you can keep it in a liquid form like this. And it can stay long because tincture does not spoil. There is a benefit for tincture. Winter is coming. You can't have most of the herb around. Or maybe we have a better corona coming very strong and you might not be able to order anything. So now you can do tinctures and keep it. Make a good tinctures, have strong herb, you made a tincture, just keep it there. The tincture can stay there 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, it will not spoil. It will not spoil. So tincture is really, really good for surviving time. You know, the good news is you don't even need a lot of it. Tincture just need a dropper. It's a super, super concentrate. You can make tincture stronger as much you want. Sometimes I want to make tincture really strong. Like this one is a hemp strong. Some hemp from Jamaica, you know. And I make it strong and I strain it. I put another one and I strain it again. Make it very, very, very strong. And this stuff, you just need a very little, like just a dropper. And that's it, you know. So you can have a tincture like this jar. It's good for the whole family for a whole year. Everybody can be serving. It depends what kind of tincture it is. Be tincture from any formula. Tincture for, you know, for the cleanse. Even for the cleanse, you can take all of these and make a tincture. You can make iron concentrate tinctures using iron herbs like stinging nettle, sarsaparilla, elderberry, and chaparral, and what do you call it? Blessed thistle. and you make a tincture. After that, you strain it, you put another herb in the same thing again. You extract it as much as you want, and you get a very strong tincture. It's going to stay there for years. And when you need it, a little bit. Now, do we consume alcohol? Answer is no. How do we help? When you get your tincture, you're going to infuse the tincture. Now, the alcohol in a hot water evaporates. So you can make your alcohol evaporate before you consume the things. We get the point very well? Let me repeat it again. Let's say I need 2 tablespoons of this. But I don't want to take 2 tablespoons. I'm taking pure. I'm taking alcohol. I'm going to get drunk. So what do I do? I take the 2 tablespoons or whatever I need, put it in my infuser here in a very hot water, and let it sit there for the next 10 minutes, and the alcohol will evaporate. Then what is left there was what? Just the herb that I need. And this is really appropriate for winter time, for the time you cannot buy, you cannot sell, because you can make a tincture that can cover 10, 15, and more years, okay? It's very, very important for surviving time and for winter time. So though live in the countryside, at this moment you can harvest most of the herb you have. Harvest the leaves, the root, whatever you can harvest, make a good tinctures, you know? And from that, you can also make a business with the tinctures. Tinctures are really good for making some, let me see here. Okay, I don't have it, it's all right. Let's say you want to make herbal business stuff. You have your tinctures and you put in the little bottles, put a label on it, and you have tinctures for the market. Like a cayenne pepper tincture. People really buy a lot. It's good for winter time. You can make a tinctures for cough. Okay, you can make a tincture for any formula, any herbal, anything you can make as tea. You can make it in tincture form. Anything, any formula you're gonna be learning. All right. So it's much better for market. Why? It does not spoil. It does not spoil. So if you make the things for the market this year, you didn't, by any mistake or whatever happened, you didn't have enough great, you did not have time or whatever happened, you didn't sell all, guess what? You can still sell it next year or anytime because it will not spoil. So it's a great way to do the business with herb when you're doing tincture. Okay? Very, very important. So don't live in the countryside. All the herb around you, it will serve you. Serve for food, serve for business, serve for healing, serve for everything. The tincture is a great friend for surviving time. For winter time, you can have a fresh thing around you. Very important.
Okay. So the next extract we're going to use is glycerin extract.
Glycerin extract.
Now, this is best for children, and there are some people, as much as we explain to them, as Pastor Coco just mentioned, about the alcohol issue, and then there are some people who you might be treating who are recovering alcoholics. The mere thought, could push them over the edge, and you don't want to you don't want that on your mind. So it's very good for kids, particularly because why? Most of these herbs don't taste too good. But we know kids, we as a people right now, we don't know what the word bitter is in our senses at all. So it's easier to use it as a glycerin extract. So we'll make a glycerin extract also using the same herbs. So this is about half. Now the thing with glycerin, may I have a cup, please?
Cup? This one or the plastic one?
One of those clear cups. So when you're making a glycerin extract, it's half of the glycerin and half of your water.
Water.
Distilled water.
So you take half, if you're gonna do like 1 cup, you take 1 cup of water, 1 cup of glycerin. And you mix it before you pour it on the herb, right?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I have a spoon. And this one, you can take it just directly. So you don't need to infuse. You don't have to do anything. You just, when you finish straining it, when you know it's already, all the properties are out, you can just start drinking it.
How long do we infuse this?
So we infuse this, it takes the same time.
Go do the same over here. Half of water again, and then half of the glycerin again.
Now, a lot of the times, as your extracts are being made, you check it, you would see sometimes that, oh, I fill it all the way to the top, and when you look, it's all the way there. Fear not, you just add some more, because remember, these herbs are expanding in this jar, so it's sucking up all of the liquid.
So you need a bigger jar. These are just for demonstration.
Yeah, because when I go home, I'm transferring them and
Take it soak and then add more.
so same thing. But if you notice, when we added the alcohol, we had a space before, and then we didn't have a space when we shook it. But look at this, we still have a space now, everything floated to the top. Why? Because the alcohol has a pulling effect on these herbs, so it penetrated the herbs faster than this would.
And also alcohol concentration, like the density is
right.
light, but these things are much heavier, so you push this thing up. Now, how long this last before they strain it?
You use it the same time,
You
2
use
to
it the
6
same
weeks,
time.
but the shelf life of this is up to 3 years.
3 to 4, right? Sometimes 4.
Sometimes 4.
Okay, so we use only vegetable glycerin. We have to be very, very clear about that. Not any kind of glycerin, vegetable glycerin. If it's possible, food grade and all of that, food grade vegetable glycerin. Okay, that's what you use. You do the extraction same way, and then you can keep on the shelf for a good 3 years. I highly recommend to avoid using any metal when you're doing these things because it's not very, very safe. Okay. So the next thing will be.
I don't know.
We did say to use glove or
plastic
plastic cover.
Plastic cover.
And then you cover it up, that will be very good. But metal should be avoided for tinctures, for all of these things. So you might break down this metal into your herb. You are creating a whole new formula. It's a new chemistry right there.
You're creating a new problem.
Yeah, you can do the powder herbs. You can do the powder herb.
Discussed.
You can use the whole herb. You can use the root, any form. You can use it for it.
Okay. The next one is the vinegar, the apple cider vinegar extract.
Apple cider vinegar extract. Yeah.
Now I'm using the same herb because I'm using it for different people. So it's the same thing.
That's it. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. So now the concept is the same. The concept is the same. The only thing, your menstruum is different. Now, when we're using apple cider vinegar, you always get an apple cider vinegar with what we call the mother growing inside of it. And one of the best ways to know if you're using one with the mother in it is to always check. And a foolproof way, because some vinegars are apple cider flavored. But if they have the mother in it, you know it's pure apple cider vinegar. I do.
So you shake it first,
Mm-hmm.
then you know.
Now, this extract will last 1 to 2 years.
Only.
But the thing about it is a lot of people like this too because of the flavor it gives off. It's a very flavorful extract.
So this is a apple cider vinegar with the
The mother.
Okay, not the father, only the mother. We don't want no father here, no brother, no sister, just the mother.
That's the mama.
Okay, just the mother. That's all you need. So apple cider with the mother, and you're good. So this will last 1 to
2 years.
2 years, and you will be really good. Okay.
And they're really
So,
very tasty too.
We do the same thing, right? Every day.
Shake
Shake
it
it
2
up.
to 3 times. You're redistributing
You know.
the top to the bottom, just making sure that everybody is involved in the process.
So the whole thing is about, especially for countries where you have so much of a winter and all of these things, you can make all your herbal preparation for the whole family. If you're doing business, you have something that will last for 2 years. Give you enough time to put into the market. Very easy.
Yeah.
Tincture, that stay there 5, 10 years, even more. The vegetable glycerin, 3 years. 3 year time you can easily sell out whatever is there and serve people and live by your service. That's what we're trying to say.
Amen.
So though live in a country, you gotta really develop a way of serving all your community. People need to know you, that you are the herbal person. You are the one taking care of them. You are, anytime they have any problem, they have to run to you because you have what they need. You are God's agent to handle them what God has made for them. So it's more than just making a medicine, just making a business. It's become you are the person of reference. When they need, what they want, you know where to go. And you are there as a God, representative to provide what God already has given. So very, very important. It's not just for ourselves,
So-
and it's a great for country living, help you pay off easily your bills in the countryside.
So I want to stress, because as you saw some of these recipes online, you would have seen where I talk about putting this out to be tinctured, extracted, or etc. But I have something that we missed out on, and I did this deliberately. Now, the first thing that you should always do when you make any type of medication to bottle.
So let me ask you the question so you answer. How, when I mix the same herb in different way, I have one in the alcohol, one in the vinegar, apple cider vinegar, with the mother, without the father. And then this one, this is from the
Vegetable
glycerin,
glycerin.
all of that. So after a couple of days, it have the same color. How I'm gonna know which one is the tincture, which one is from
The mother.
the mother, apple cider vinegar, and the vegetable glycerin? How I'm gonna know?
Label.
Label. So this is the number one thing you do.
Important, important. I did this deliberately without doing it to bring this discussion. Because just as Pastor Koku mentioned, when they give it a couple of days, they all look alike. Now you're trying, you don't want to be going and trying to taste anything. But if you label it, so now you get a marker and a label, and you're going to put what the herb is, what the menstruum is, you're going to date it. And some people...
What is menstruum?
I mentioned that the menstruum is the solvent, the liquid in which you're using to make your extract.
Exactly.
Now,
so alcohol is a menstruum, right? Apple cider vinegar is a menstruum. And then the vegetable glycerin is another menstruum. All right?
So you're going to put, I put my name on it, although I'm the only person at home doing it. I put my name on it, I put the date, I put what's in it, how much I use, and well, because I don't have a date, I don't have a business yet. So I don't, but you put a date that you want to open it up.
No, he do have a little business. He's the one selling these things. I'm going to talk about it later on.
Yeah. So the first thing you're going to do, and I have labels there.
Where?
White. And my marker is here.
So you have...
any little label. Even my bottles have a thing that I could put a date on and I could say what it is, because a lot of the time, even herbs,
Yeah.
sometimes all the herbs look alike. How are you going to know which one? I'm just doing a rough one so you can get an idea. I put it the wrong way. Okay, I put it the wrong way, but I'll correct it. Now I know I go put this. So as I say, I'm going to fix this later on, right?
Let's do this way.
When I go home and they all kind of saturate into each other and I'm trying to figure out which one it is, I know this one is the one with apple cider vinegar.
So you put the name. So what is the name here? Hawthorn berry and leaves, all of that, right? What's the menstruum? Apple cider vinegar. Then the date you put it there, and if you want, you can put the date you want to filter out. Okay? That is the first. Now, when you filter this out, now you have the whole complete thing. You made another label. And you can buy this in the market. They call it regular label. Where do you buy this from?
I got this at the 99-cent store.
99-cent store, you buy this. And then there are many ways to do label.
You could color code, you can
do anything you want. Okay, if you have a business, you can let it print that way. There are many ways you can do your stuff and label everything right, and it's great to go. Okay, you have a lot of machine, you can do more thing much professionally.
Again, because I'm doing it and I know what they are, I'm just putting on the cap itself. So when I go home, I'm transferring these. So these are little notes to myself. Because there's nothing more distressing when you're trying to get a tincture or get anything for anybody and you gotta go. And now you can't figure out what it is you're trying to, and then you want to try to taste it, and now the alcohol burn, or you might drink the alcohol first, it burn out your all your taste buds, and you can't taste the rest.
You know. So
So these are your extracts.
now what's
Now we're
about
going to discuss
one
herbal
second, one second, one second.
oils.
Yeah, herbal oil, and okay, herbal oil. How do we do the herbal oil?
Um, check it.
All right. All right. So it's the same procedure. Just to explain it. This is your oil, right?
Yeah. Okay. Herbal oil. The only thing about herbal oils is that you are taking the herbs the same way, and you can do them in two processes. One, you can put them in the bottle the same way and fill it with oil. And a lot of people use vegetable oil. You're going to see that. I don't know why. But the best oil that you can ever use is olive oil. That's mentioned 50 million times. I mean, I'm just exaggerating. But, you know, we're supposed to be the people who follow after our master. And he could not stop talking about olive oil. So if he is talking about it all the time, do you think we should be using it as much as we can? Now, the benefit of using olive oil, though, is that it has a affinity to pull all the properties from anything it gets in contact with. And so you fill this with olive oil. I fill this in this bottle, and you set it out in the sun. You let the sun pull out everything from it for 2 weeks, and it's good.
So in another way, you need a little heat.
A little heat.
Okay. So
Because
you can do the same herbal oil, put it in a big stainless steel. What, this?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a trusty little gadget. This one I was able to do. I did this one with my crock pot. And 6 hours does the trick. Same thing, you put the herbs, you measure your herbs, you put them in here, and you cover it with the olive oil. Let the olive oil fully cover it. You mix it in to make sure that it's totally incorporated. You plug it in. Now, people say on low, but when you put these things on low, they have a tendency to burn. And
So
you don't want to waste
control
your herb. You don't want to, you don't want, it's time, electricity, everything else. So what I do, I put it on warm. Because warm just, it keeps it warm. Because one of the things, if your herb starts to bubble, that means it's killing all of the constituents in your herb.
And you don't want it to be,
You
because
don't-
oil can be really hot. Oil
And
can
you
be
will get a
really
black
hot,
oil, and everything is dead. So with warm, 6 hours, I go to bed. I got up this morning. I was smelling all my herbs, and that's how you know it's done, because you smell it. And you let it cool. You strain it with a muslin cloth or a cheesecloth. Wring it out and bottle it. Same thing, label, and you're good to go.
This is some oil we extract this for skin care. Have a lot of herb here, more than 10 different herbs. And you do the extra. If you don't have olive oil, that you need to make sure where you get it from, because you have a lot of fake olive oil in the market right now, a lot of them. Make sure you get a brand that you are really sure about. If you live somewhere you don't have no olive oil, then get some coconut oil. The olive oil which will be better, okay? Now, when it comes to the oil, there's something very particular that we won't do now that will be in level 2. It takes you more than 12 hours to do it, where you concentrate herb into the herbal oil into a capsule. Let's say you take 1 pound of this herb and you put on it a very, very strong alcohol, like the most highest concentrate ever, okay? It's a dry alcohol. It really pulls things really fast. And now you are going to use a crock pot and let it boil until the alcohol, the water, everything evaporate. You can take like this 1 pound, and all you're gonna get from maybe is 1 ounce, just 1 ounce of oil, you know. And one of the things we use most is the hemp, the flower, the bugs of the hemp, indica hemp for those who live in Jamaica or the other place. You can make this great medicine for asthmatic people. Somebody have a burn, no matter how burn it is, use this quick oil. This is your great emergency things to use. Somebody having a seizure, to put a little bit under the tongue, it's gone. Now have excruciating pain, real pain. That thing work 10 times better than any concentrate cayenne pepper for pain. Okay, nothing in natural feel better than concentrated hemp oil for pain. Nothing. People have cancer, have serious pain. It's the only thing they use that they have no pain. They can sleep well without too much trouble. So that is going to be level 2 because it take a whole day. We don't have a whole day today to do that. Okay, level 2 you're really going to, because it's a really good for many situations of emergency, like really good. Okay.
Okay. So we are going to the.
What's next?
Well, we going to the portion of let your medicine be your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food.
So that's going to be the last part, right?
Yes.
So, but before we get there, we will talk about herbal salve. Okay, how you make the salve. There are many kind of salve. Like this one, this is the healing salve for deep tissues, for the knees. If you have a cut, you have a burn, whatever you have, like
arthritis.
And winter is coming. You are very cold. You rub this in your feet, in your arm, in your neck here. Your cold is gone. Many pain, whatever it is. You have any accident, you fall, you have a bruise. But he make this, okay? He learned it from the class we have done before. Now he's making it a lot, and people buying it. You know, he's a nurse, but he's still doing something. And I'm encouraging him to build online, online store for people to start serve people. More people you serve, better you will live. More people you serve, better you will live. Very, very important. It's a salve you should have home. And we're going to see how to make this salve in level 2 because it take more than a day to make it, right?
Yes.
To make it. So level 2 class is much more about making medicine. It's much for the market. For those who live in a country, want to make a living from what God has provided. So all the herb around you, you are going to transform them into something great, usable, good, nice, available for all people living around you. And even from far away because of the internet we have today. So very important. The other one is the herbal bolus for insertion. Herbal bolus is a herb that specific herbs for any internal use that you can insert. Okay. Let's say a woman has some serious infection, some other problem in a woman area. You make a herbal bolus, and she will insert that. It depends, you can insert in the night time, but if you're a married person, you stay in the night, you forget, it might be pushed very far, you don't want that. So we gotta be very, very, very cautious about this. It can create a lot of trouble. So, and then those who have also hemorrhoid, okay, in your anus. So also by herbal bolus, you can save also somebody's life. Some people have hemorrhoid for years. They do any treatment is not working. Change your diet, use the herbal teas, change your whole lifestyle, sleeping well, change everything, and also try a really good herbal bolus. We don't have enough time to give detail about what to use, what to put. These things are much more in your books. And by level 2, you're going to do much more about formulas. What do you put in these things? One thing we almost forget is the capsules, okay? We already talked about capsules. It's very easy. Take the herbal. This is the powder here. This is the slippery herb powder. It can be cascara sagrada powder. Let's say you want to make a colon cleanse. You take senna powder, cascara, a little of cayenne, a little bit of ginger. Let's say 60% senna, 20% cascara, 10% ginger, 10% cayenne. You mix there, and then you use the hand machine. Last time we brought it here, use a hand machine and you encapsulate everything. You can encapsulate your herb for the whole year. Okay, it can last you 2 years. If you have dry herb like this, it can last you easily 2 years still working. I have this for 2 years, but I still use it. It's still working very well. You know, so you might not need. Why are we giving all of this for? Because sometimes you might want to be using herb constantly, but your morning schedule does not allow you to do this. If you have a lot of capsule, you take 6 capsules in the morning. You have enough you need. You might sometimes you might forget. Have your capsule out in your office. You go to work, you take some capsule, you're fine. We need to start putting in our habit. Don't wait until you're sick to use herb. Use herb so much that sickness run away from you. This is the whole idea. You know, let the sickness say, okay, we don't like you because you take too much herb, you eat too good, you rest too much, and you trust God too much, so they leave you alone. So we are not teaching how to know so much herb and wait until you get sick. We're saying, let your herb become your food in a different way.
Of your lifestyle.
Okay, in your different ways. So please, let us think about this. I saw people being miserable, even a millionaire. I said, millionaire sick and nothing can help. A miserable money can't help, family can't help, friend cannot help because we are ignorant. And ignorance is the greatest cause of all disease. We don't know. And the worst part is we don't even know that we don't know. So may we from this class is much more how, you know, to do prevention. What do we do?
Okay.
Okay, good.
I want to do the things.
Okay.
So while Pastor is wrapping up, we want to talk about the aspect of food being your medicine and medicine being your food. And as you see, we have 3 preparations using herbs. One of them is raw almond garlic stinging nettle crackers. We also going to have a chia pudding, and we're going to have a lemon, ginger, and turmeric ice cream. So, as Pastor is talking, I'll go get it, and we'll present it for you to see. Okay?
All right. So we are going to be doing some of the good part that people will love, how to put your herb in a form of ice cream. And those who are living in a country that would like to make a living, it's one of the best ways. Make things that are so good, so different, and so unique that you don't even have any competitor. It's just great in itself, and it's a medicine at the same time. Some people have an allergy for, you know, the dairy product, because ice cream is most made from milk and everything. Now we want to make ice cream that have ginger, turmeric, stinging nettles, and many other herbs that you can consume very easily. Okay? And then you're going to also have a crackers. So we're going to talk about that very soon. There's like crackers have a lot of spirulina in the cracker. Can you imagine that? So they are getting ready to bring the things here for us. And Daniel, is it okay? You done with the computer?
So Pastor Kuku was mentioning about the crackers. Now, these crackers are nutritionally packed. So he mentioned spirulina. There's stinging nettle in here. There are your adaptogens, the parsleys, and I put some turmeric in here also. You also have rosemary, you have marjoram. These are all things that help build very good bones. And I also put in kelp for some
Care for
iodine.
iodine.
And on top of that,
Because your thyroid control how much your body fixes your calcium properly.
and on top of that, I added some
Comfy?
black seed oil.
Okay. Black seed.
Black seed oil.
Whoa, black seed.
So-
That is a great stuff.
So if Pastor start telling you about the things of that you have just a few of these crackers, you have fortified yourself with so much.
So look how it look like.
It's
This is a
green
cracker.
because of the spirulina.
So it's no longer the cracker you buy from a Whole Food store, all of this full of many preservatives. You don't know how long it's on the shelf. You don't know what they put in it. You have no idea. You can make these things whole. Then for who? For all your neighbors. You know, and you hand them what? The Word of God. This is the Word of God.
Give them a
Why?
taste.
Everything was created by the Word of God. God created all of these trees you see around. All the trees standing is the Word of God standing alive. Now you put it in the form of food. So we are actually communicating to people the creative power of God. We are letting them know this is what our Father, our Creator, has made. We just put it in an easiest form to consume.
So now I also did a chia pudding.
Chia pudding.
Chia pudding. So this is,
Hey, you explain how you make the cracker.
so the recipe is online. So for who is interested,
No, we're going to send it to the student anyway.
okay, and the method. Then we go to the chia pudding. It's very simple.
So let's just do this clear a little bit before you
So
move on.
I would like somebody to taste this and tell me really.
Okay. Dr. Brown, do you want to taste this for us, please? Come on, come on, come on.
Because you see, people, we are online, we everywhere, and when we just put things together and then have it looking nice, nobody has an idea of what is being the experience of it.
So this is the spirulina, stinging nettles. What else?
Kelp,
Kelp.
almond raw cracker.
All of these sting cracker, right?
Has flax in it too.
This tastes really good. By the way, he used to make this for me. This used to be my breakfast, okay? I take this with my morning shake. I asked him to do it in such a way that's really thin, it just melts very quick. It tastes so good. I mean, really good. Sometimes I add the herb I want into it. So instead of making a herbal tea every morning, guess what? I just eat my herb in the form of crackers. What about that? You want to try one? All right, thank you very much.
So
So the
next,
formula is there, okay? The recipe, and show you everything how to dry it. So everything is there, so don't worry about it. You're gonna really know how to. We're gonna send the PowerPoint to the student.
now this is a chia pudding. Now, this chia pudding, as you see, it's basically 5 ingredients. And all you do is you put them together, you soak the chia, and you put it in the refrigerator to set. Now, so this is like less than 10 minutes basically. And you see we have, for flavoring, ground fennel seed, star anise, and cardamom. We have grown to be liking to use a lot of cinnamon. And instead of the leaves, we use the bark. But I gave a taste of this to my mom, and she was quite pleased. So all you do, you scoop it in. You can have it for breakfast also. And you top it with your fruit. And this is quite filling. So here it is.
So that is cactus fruit, right?
And I
design.
put some, yes, cactus spear with it as my topping. You can put some coconut shavings.
Bring me that.
And here we go. So if somebody needs to taste, please. So I need a taster, Pastor. Tell them the.
It's too cold for me, you know. Daniel's one's okay, Daniel.
Well, they need to see him taste it.
Mr. Daniel.
So, Pastor spoke about this ice cream. So I was asked to make it a more fun version, a portable version.
You can't pull out?
What's that?
Still be, let me see.
I think this one here. You might pull out. Try this one.
All right. So this is the ice cream. It's a little bit broken inside there. And then you got to look at this, what do you call it? This,
Popsicle maker. Popsicle. So I set it as popsicles.
yeah. So parents, let's say your children don't like herbs. Put your herb in ice cream and you're going to see all of them eat it whole day. More ice cream they eat, better they get.
The more
Just
you
imagine.
smile.
Yeah. You know, you put a herb in a cracker, put in ice cream. Believe me, you can get everyone in the house to get to use the herbs. You know. And this, can I taste it?
Yes.
Please? Can I taste this?
Lemon, ginger, and turmeric ice cream.
Oh my goodness.
And
I wish all students are here. You can taste this stuff.
there is also
It's anti-inflammatory what? Ice cream.
Also, there's turmeric and there's stinging nettle and black pepper, because the pepper in it is going to cause it's going to pull
the ingredient for turmeric to be easy to absorb.
Right.
But don't do too much of the black pepper because it's irritating to your the line of your system.
Testing.
Anything else?
No, I think this is
No.
about it.
So we are slowly running to the end. We will take some questions. And Dr. Brown, you want to have something to say? Anything? Okay, she says she doesn't have anything to say. So please, I'm busy. Please wait for somebody. So we want to thank everyone for your time, your attention. These are just the introduction to herbs, okay? You have the books And in your books, you see many ways to make many other stuff. And these are just things that you can do. I mean, you can improve anything here, any other way. And I encourage everyone to think big and think beyond. It's about how do we follow divine order. God said the health message is the right arm of the gospel.
And will be the last
Any
work.
church you go, Adventist church or Sunday churches, you prepare these things. Herbal ice cream is not something that's very popular. Herbal crackers, okay? The food preparation we had last week with Dr. Brown and my I can't call him nurse anymore. He said herbal master, herbalist, nurse, everything mix. Now, and if you can design this thing, we are working to see. Okay, I'm talking to Dr. Brown to see when you're gonna have a time. We can have a class only to train people on raw cooking this thing, how to create a class that they can make a living by teaching these things to people. We really want to use health message to get it anywhere. Nursing homes, Amen. Sunday churches, whatever it is. And anyone have any idea, you need help. We're going to be raising some help from left and right to see how we can help people. Because today, we got to learn a better way to help. It's not just giving people things. We prefer to enable people to be much productive than just hand money and things to people. They come right back. They come right back. You want to enable people, give a gift of capabilities for God's glory. Amen. God put a lot of things in you. They're still sleeping in you. We want them to be waken up, to be resurrected. The giant for God is right sleeping in you. Amen. Time for that giant to wake up. So we're going to take some quick questions, and then we're going to be closing. If you have any question, just text it quickly on the YouTube, and we're going to have it right here. We're going to answer you. Daniel, have any question? Oh, okay. Yeah. Somebody said they miss how much herb goes into the herbal, into the glycerin. We said half of water and half of the sound is low.
Volume. Half water to
half of water
glycerin.
And half of glycerin. Now you just fill it up. Fill it up, have enough space. It depends on the kind of herb you have there, how much the herb can bubble up, can absorb, become bigger. It depends how is the size of whatever you are putting there. If you put something that when it absorbs fluid, it will get much. So create enough room and then follow the measuring, and you should be fine.
That's correct.
Somebody, if we can watch the video after the live, yeah, yes. We're gonna make it available for everybody. Level 2 will be exclusive only to students. So for this one, yes, it's gonna be available for everyone. Somebody, is a herbal capsule better than taking a herbal tea? It depends. It depends. If you want herbs to work slowly, some of the herbs need to go slow. Because when you put the herbal powder in form of capsule, it's a little bit slower to work, and it works through your whole digestive tract. When you drink herbal tea, it's a little bit warm or hot. It works very quick, very fast. So it depends on what you're using it for, Depends on what you are using the herb for and how concentrated you want it to be. Exactly. Sometimes, like people that are put on a cleanse and I call something whole body reset, where we cleanse your blood, your whole system, your liver, your everything, and boost your whole thing, renew your cells. I recommend they combine, they take the herbal tea and they add more of the herbal powder, whole tablespoon in your herbal tea. It's a super powerful stuff. It do what we call interstitial cleanse, okay, or intracellular cleanse. We cleanse your fluid. It really brings you. So it depends how strong you want things to be and how fast you want it to be. Someone also asked, is ice cream good for children for digestion? Yes, all of these things here are good for digestion. Okay, all of these ingredients are good for digestion. Cold in the system. Well, if you don't want it cold, let it cool down a little bit. It's okay. Okay, somebody said they are lost about the fig and the poultice. It depends on what you are doing. If you're doing herbal poultice on, for example, breast cancer, that will be different. You know, the fig and iodine, you're going to be doing that later on level 2 with Elder Mima Wilson, you know. All we were trying to show you is you can make any poultice much thicker using a little slippery herb. That's the whole point about that, okay? Can there be any use of alcohol? Well, it depends what you want. It depends on what the situation. And just know that we don't encourage ingesting alcohol. Um, we want the question to be specific to the class today, okay? Yeah, we're not going to answer that question right now because it's not in this context. Okay, somebody recommend. Yeah, we encourage you to use anything bitter. What we're using here for education. If you have someone talk about the dark amber bottle, we definitely recommend dark amber bottle. Okay, what we are doing here is to show you the basic that you need.
So you start, in fact.
How do you go into the store to buy alcohol as a Christian? Seriously, everybody buy alcohol, right? Do you need any ID? I don't know. I don't know too much the law here. So at this
Your
moment,
hand sanitizers are made of alcohol, so, and some of the lotions that you're buying, alcohol, so.
She says that, how do you go into the store to buy alcohol as a Christian? In another word, you go in there, while you are a Christian, you go in the alcohol store.
That's the only place you
You
can
see,
get it.
we need to get to the point where we deal with our conscience. Not everybody gonna like you, and not everybody gonna talk good about you. Jesus, the Son of God, was here. People find things wrong with him. Be clear in your conscience and live. That's how I live. I will go in an alcohol store, buy my alcohol, and come out. If you see me, oh, I saw the pastor in the alcohol store. Fine. Because we cannot just live trying to be okay with everybody. It can't
Please
work.
everybody.
It's almost impossible. We need to get to our conscience where we are okay with it. So I suggest that we feel okay, go buy alcohol. Okay? Um, Somebody say, why if another Christian see you? Okay, we want to leave this question out because we can be answering this question, please. So, um, just try to deal with your conscience and allow only God to see you. And again and again, uh, buying alcohol, buy alcohol. Okay? Yeah, just buy alcohol. May I buy alcohol? I don't have no problem with it. I just go if I need alcohol to do something, I just go and buy it. We can't please everybody. It can't work. You can't live up to whatever people are expecting. Even Jesus was wrong. He was even accused of being possessed of demons. So who am I to try to be completely clear? Be right with your conscience, okay? Other question? All right, we don't have more questions, so we're gonna stop here. Somebody say, can we learn how to make eye drop? Making more of medicine is a level 2. The level 1 is to give you
Sure.
the what you need to function. And the books you have a lot of suggestion. Give you many information, and we just show you the door. And it's a large room of knowledge, and go and collect as much you want. You have the books, you have a Google, you have many things. We are just bringing you to the light. You have the light, now you can search and get everything you want. So today we can really talk about eye drop, but we can definitely make eye drop for many things. So we are going to stop here for today, and I don't see any new questions so far. What dehydrator is the best for herb to preserve the herb? I don't recommend a dehydrator for the herbs unless you are in a condition where you don't have no other choice. If you are using the herb, if you have to dry the herb, that means you are leaving the time it can be dry, right? You are in the countryside and you have the herb, just dry it in the shade. That's it. It should be fine. But if you don't have no other choice, then you gotta look for the best recommended. I don't have any name. If Dr. Brown have any suggestion, best dehydrator for drying herbs. Okay. What about you come here and say it? I give it to you. Mm-hmm.
Most of the dehydrators that exist give you temperature ranging. It will go up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit for each dehydrator. And drying your herbs at a lower temperature, drying them at a lower temperature is best. So nothing over 100 is good enough to dehydrate the herbs. And you could dry the herbs in the shade. You could air dry them, just hang them, depend on what part you're using. So if you're using the leaves and the stems, you hang them upside down. You hang them upside down in the air, and they're air dry.
All right. So do we get that? So it depends. That in another word, we are all recommending much more drying in the shade unless you are in some extreme cases that you use the hydrator. Okay. I don't see any other questions, so somebody asking here, but do you know if you are seen, they will report you to church committee and they will disfellowship you? Oh, let people disfellowship you. They can remove you from the book of life of heaven. We need to grow up. Stop being afraid of any church board. None of the church board die for you. No pastor die for you. Let people disfellowship you as long as you are clear in your conscience and in peace with the Holy Spirit. Let the whole world disfellowship you. They even disfellowship Jesus and crucify him. So who are you to avoid all of this disfellowshipping? Hmm? Dehydrator, yeah, we use dehydrator for herbal cracker. That is different. That's a preparation, you know. If the herbal cracker, obviously use the dehydrator. So I thought they were referring to the herb itself, but they were referring to the herbal cracker. So the dehydrator we used last time here could be used, and any other dehydrator can be used. Okay, come then. Okay.
Okay. So the dehydrators that I find easier to work with is the ones that you load from the front, like you load a regular oven. Now, the circular ones, they might be cheaper, but it's a little more, it's more difficult to work with because if you need more space, you don't have the capacity inside of it. So if you get one that loads on the front, it would be better because you could take a tray out and you could add more to it. If it's something that is very thick, you could also, make the space bigger in between. So a front load, any one of them, they work just as good.
Okay. So we want to thank everyone because we gotta stop right here for now, and I don't see any other question. So we want to thank all of you. We are going to be praying to close, okay? And ask Dr. Brown come pray for us. He wasn't here before we start, so at least you can pray for us, right? So.
Thank you, Lord,
Thanks.
you, Lord, for being so merciful unto us, even though Lord, we're thankful for the presentation, Lord. By use practical way to improve their life in general, Lord.
Yes.
Within us, Lord. Pray for divine guidance as we
Amen. All right, we want to thank all the
you.
students. We also thank those who are working with us, Dr. Brown, um, our brother Willis here. Now he have a many hearts, so we thank God for all of you, and we want to encourage you. The
Yes,
beginning of
yes.
everything is not easy. Okay, beginning are much harder. The more you get into it, more you understand, easier it gets. So I encourage people start somewhere. Start with small steps and grow into it. Grow into it. If you miss anything, the video is uploaded on the same channel. Watch that later on and take a note. You have the books. We recommend 16 books in this program. A lot of information in the books. We just show you the thing you can see, and from there you grow. Okay. We really encourage that. We also encourage people to organize health show in your church. We can come and support you. We can give you a hand to make things well as possible. We encourage people to come together and develop business. You know, we are having about more. By God grace, we trained in the past a lot of people. Now, all of us, including myself, we buy our herb from Herb of Mexico, Star Wars Botanical, and just think about it. We could employ some of our sisters, our brothers. We have our own herbal company, and feeding our own people. We can do things. We can do a lot of stuff ourselves. So I encourage the business part of it. Yeah, somebody will say, yes, business. Yeah, you're looking for money every day to live anyway. If you want to live by serving, we want to live by also doing God will at the same time. I highly recommend. Some people might not be interested in doing the things themselves. They can, come another way. Those who want to really do it, support them or make a deal, do some Christian ways. We want to be able to reach a point where we can have a place where people can get their herb from, education from, they have a center to go, all of this. So we did not teach you everything. Okay, you get in the beginning of it's coming. Level 2 will really enable you. Okay, will give you everything you need to really live self-sufficiently as long as you want. So we gotta pray, and we already pray. We gotta close the class for tonight. For the graduation, we encourage everyone. It's gonna be the weekend of 19 and 20, especially on the 20th. So I encourage everyone. There's a 2 requirement that cannot be dismissed. You're gonna work on your 100 herbs. And again, we send you 2 formats. Just use one of it and do the 100 herbs. That's all you need to do. The next one is write your protocol. Send all the disease you're gonna work on and follow. I give 2 examples on diabetes. The first one diabetes, the second one on asthma. So you take the 12 causes of disease and you work on them one by one. Then you take that information, you write a program for a day. When you get there, you get a principle of the whole class. All right? Thank you very much. God bless, and God willing, we will see you again next time for the continuation of the practical part of the class. I hope God bless you. Let from now your food become your medicine and your medicine be your food. God bless.
Amen.